Well, thank you and good morning, everyone. You know, the moment I set foot in engineering school in El Salvador, I knew that I was always going to be in the minority. We were about 6 girls and about 300 boys in college. And it was a fascinating experience, mostly because in El Salvador, schools are segregating gender, so girls and boys didn't get to go to school together until they went to college, which proved to be a very interesting dynamic for women. So, but then I came to the United States, and I started working in tech. And talk about being a minority. Talk about being someone who was different, not only for being a woman. I'm Latina in the tech sector. And ever since I started working here, I knew that there was a lot of judgment around who Latinos were. We're talking about 1982, the recession that was going on then, blaming all the economic situation on Latinos because they were taking jobs from honest Americans. I don't know if the theme is familiar to you. So we were being blamed for everything. So I learned to edit. I started covering and doing my Latinos are, the one thing that distinguishes Latinos, we're very proud. We want our work to speak for ourselves. So we don't like to, that's what we've been told. Just do your job and the rest will come. And that's exactly what I did. But I covered. I didn't speak about my country. There's nothing I can do about the language or the color of the skin. So clearly I was out. But I didn't know I was out. And I continued to work in that space. And then I went to work for Cisco, like Karen. And in working, I was working really hard, doing very well. My individual contributor roles, meritocracy is great. It's only when you want to move up that you need there's other intangibles to move up. So there was, because of an organizational change, I got to work with this man called Bill Conlon. I don't know if Paul remembers him. Bill was a man's man. Basketball, bars, golf, Bostonian, direct, a little rough on the edges, came from a finance background. So when I started working for him, he had no idea of the work I was doing. I was working with the systems engineers in the sales organization. He had no idea about what work. I'm sure that perhaps I was the first Salvadorian he'd ever met. And for sure, the first woman of color. So I came to the whole situation thinking, okay, here I go, cover up even more, edit yourself, just shrink in this, and just cause no problem. Well, Bill didn't let me do that. He ended up being one of the best advocates, allies, and sponsors I've ever had. And what I decided to do is just tell you some of the things he did. First thing he did, he forced my voice to be heard. When I would be sitting in the back, he would say, come over here, what do you think? Because that's exactly my whole thing was, let me just hide in the back and be nobody, and nothing will happen. He will let me do that. When somebody would interrupt me, he would say, stop, she's talking. He would even make fun of my accent, of course, but he did it in such a safe and familiar way that made it very easy for me to get comfortable with the things I was doing. The second thing he did, he made it very safe for me to propose new ideas. Whatever crazy ideas I would come, whatever new ideas, out of the box thinking in his mind, because he was a finance guy, I was an engineer. He would listen, he would consider, and then he would give the idea a fair shot before he would say yes or no. Third thing he did very, very well, he empowered me to make decisions. He trusted my judgment. He was never, ever auditing my decisions. He said, just do it, take your chances, go ahead and just run for it. Fourth thing, he gave me great feedback. Timely, brutal, sincere, direct, Bostonian feedback. So he would call me to his office and he would sometimes just sit me down and say, stop that, don't do that. Or you're committing suicide, don't do that, don't go there, go this way. But it was not in a way that was demeaning, it was a way to challenge me to rethink how I was doing. But here's the great other thing he did, number 5. He took feedback. When he screwed up, I could sit down and tell him, you're screwing up, so you need to do this, and he took it. One time he was, Cisco was buying companies at a speed, we were buying 43 companies in a year, and the sales organization wasn't integrating them properly. So I went and sat down with him. I said, listen, your job is to make this happen, right? You're not doing it right. And he said, you're right, I'm screwing it up. And then he turned around and he said, so how are you gonna fix this problem? So I ended up taking one of the best jobs I've ever had. And the final thing Bill did, he shared success, credit for his success. He was immensely successful. And he always took the time to make sure that I was recognized. In fact, for my birthday, I remember picking up the phone and there was a voicemail from John Chambers, our CEO, thanking me for a great job I had done in an acquisition, in an integration of an acquisition. I was floored because it was Bill who was making sure that I got credit for the work I was doing. Bill changed my career because he saw in me things that I didn't. He believed in me in ways that I didn't. And sometimes that's all you need. And also, he made it very safe for me to be who I was. In fact, he always pushed me to roll my R's, to not settle for Rocio. I had to say Rocio, so, because he wouldn't let me. So it was his way to say, it's okay, just come out. So Bill Conlon, wherever you are, probably in some golf course, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, come on, we can do better than that. Good morning.
Good morning.
One more time. Good morning.
Good morning.
Is everyone excited to be here? Cool. I'm terrible with technology, even though I work in the technology space. I'm trying to figure out how. So I just wanted to start off by saying that to most people, I personify the dominant architect. Outwardly, I look like a white male, but there's a lot more nuances to my story that I wanted to share as the other